Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us. We are coming to you live from the Rabos International Airport, where we are bringing you live coverage of the arrival of His Excellency President Boakai. The President was just in Turkey on a working visit, and we are here at the airport to bring you coverage of his arrival from Turkey. So that's the RRA terminal right here for you, and on the runway we also showing you the runway, and then just right ahead of you there, it appears that's the jet that's bringing His Excellency the President to Liberia after what can be described as a successful working visit there in Turkey. And of course, President Boakai is in country. So wherever you're watching from, we'd like to welcome you and thank you for joining us live here from the Rabos International Airport. So the jet bringing His Excellency has just landed, and it's already on the RIA runway, and it's making its way here at the VIP lounge of the Rabos International Airport, where the officials of government already are waiting to formally receive His Excellency the President and welcome him home after attending what can be described as a successful visit there in Turkey. So if you can just look right here ahead of us at the airport itself, we're seeing officials of government who are here to welcome His Excellency the President formally from Turkey after attending a very crucial visit there in Turkey. So officials of government are already here to welcome the President. As usual, the armed forces of Liberia, the guards from the armed forces of Liberia, they usually line up to receive His Excellency the President, and you're seeing the soldiers, they're already lined up and are waiting to receive President Boakai as he lands here at the Rabos International Airport, the RIA. So just a few officials of government. It's not really, having a bunch of them here lined up, to welcome and receive His Excellency the President. Just a few. I'm seeing the director of the airport, of the aviation authority. He's just right ahead of us there. I'm also seeing amongst officials of government who are here, the director of the Executive Protection Service, the Director General of the Cabinet, just a few officials of government who are here at the airport to receive His Excellency the President. As usual, the President will come using commercial flights, if you know, by the way, and he will usually come by commercial flight. But today, President Boakai is coming in what looks like a chartered or probably a flight that was sent for him purposely. So, by the way, I'm also seeing the Minister of State for Presidential Affairs, Honorable Stikwa, is just right ahead of us here. And then the jet itself is sitting just right here at the Rabos International Airport. There you have it. Folks, so thanks for joining us. President Boakai is already in town. The President is already in country. He has just arrived here at the RIA, and you're seeing the flight just right ahead of us here. The folks here from the airport authority will unleash the red carpet on which His Excellency President Boakai will step formally as he arrives in the country. And then the officials of government, as you're seeing from where I stand, are making their way to the exit of the flight, and they will welcome His Excellency the President formally as he disembarks the flight. But members of his delegation are already, from what it looks like, are already departing the very flight itself, and officials of government, precisely from the office of the President, protocol officers, make their way into the flight to formally welcome the officials, delegates. I'm seeing the chief of protocol from the office of the president making his way out of the flight. He just walked out with a smile on his face. He's greeting the Minister of State for Presidential Affairs. They're sharing pleasantries. We're yet to see other members of the president's delegate to make their way out of the flight yet, but of course the flight itself has landed already, and from what it looks like, it appears we should be seeing the president himself any moment from now. So there's a protocol officer from the executive mansion who has gone in there to prepare probably prepare the president. One of the pilots have made their way out of could be the cabin, and other flight attendants, see them going back and forth, and then also the protocol officer from the executive mansion who made her way in there is coming out of the flight already. So there you have him, His Excellency the President, President Joseph Nyuma Boakai Sr. is making his way out of the flight already, dressed up in his gray suit and his signature cap. You may know the President loves this cap, or hat if you may. And so he has already made his way out of the flight, and he's being greeted by first person, Minister of State, Airport Authority Director, and other officials of government who are lined up to greet him, saying hi to him. And so he will walk the red carpet now, and then walk through the guards prepared for him by the armed forces of Liberia as he heads towards the executive, the VIP, or the executive lounge, of course, of the Rabat International Airport. And so now he's being welcomed by the soldier from the armed forces of Liberia. You heard it from him. He says, "Welcome, sir." And now the president will greet officials of government. All right, folks, so you just saw it for yourself. So, President Boakai is in country. He has just arrived from Turkey from a working visit, and he's in country already. And of course, he's been formally welcomed by officials of government here at the Rabat International Airport. And of course, the armed forces of Liberia performed their usual do, where when the president arrives, they get to welcome him and giving him a salute, you know, as a way of welcoming him. So wherever you're watching from, I'd like to thank you for watching. Keep watching us, by the way. We're hoping to hear from President Boakai. He met the Turkish president, while he was there in Turkey. So, but that's the flight that brought the president. From Turkey, and he is already in country. So I'd like to thank all of you. So you can stay with us. We'll go through some of the details and bring you up to speed on the president's visit while he was there in Turkey, on some of the crucial happenings that took place there. We're also hoping to hear from officials of government, especially the Presidential Press Secretary, Madam Kula Fufana. Let's see if she can update us on some of the president's activities while he was there in Turkey. But he met the Turkish leader while he was out there in Turkey. And of course, they held bilateral meetings, among several meetings that the president held, business meetings where the president met some investors, you know, business investors there in Turkey while he was there, speaking about, you know, investment here in Liberia. As per his meeting with the Turkish leader, there were a lot of issues that were discussed. A lot of them focus on diplomacy. The president proposed to the Turkish leader the establishment of embassies in both countries, in Liberia and Turkey. And at the same time, spoke about this very Rabat International Airport where we are, the RIA, speaking about advancing the airport itself. And also, you know, talking about energy advancement in terms of electricity and you name it. So there's been a lot that were discussed while the president was there in Turkey. So we're hoping to hear from him himself. Let's see what he can tell us about his interaction, his meeting with Turkish leader. What was it like? Also, most importantly, if you may know it or if you have been following, there's been controversies surrounding the president's travel while he was out there in Turkey, talking about that his trip was not a trip that would benefit Liberians. It was being assumed, or it was being said by folks from the other end of the divide, respectfully, let's say opposition folks, describing the president's trip as a personal endeavor. There have also been rumors about how the president had gone to seek medical treatment. There's always this, assertion every time the president travels that he has gone to seek medical attention and all of that. But there hasn't been any, credible information from the executive that the president had gone to Turkey to seek medical or whatever, because it was said that the president was going for a working visit. But by the way, to some other data, the president actually did meet with a Turkish leader, which one could say verified or finally, laid the basis to assume, obviously, that he had gone to Turkey. And not just an assumption, obviously, he had gone to Turkey for a working visit, because you get to meet a leader, of course, once you're invited or once you propose a visit. Presidents do propose visits, and leaders also do invite presidents. So that's how it is. So we're going to see if we can hear from him, for him to tell us what his visit was all about. I'm going to ask President Boakai, I'm going to be very straightforward. What do you say to your critics who say your visit to Turkey was not beneficial to Liberia or to Liberians? What do you say to them? I will obviously try my best to see if I can ask the president that question. But as it stands currently, he's already in the VIP lounge. You see those officers, as you see how well attired they are and very focused, are waiting or protecting the entry to the VIP. They are waiting for President Boakai to make his way out. But I'm going to try my possible best to pose that question and see what the president has to say. It's obvious the president had gone for a walking visit. He met the Turkish leader. They held, discussions. They held talks, both countries, and how both countries can contribute to each other and benefit to their various economies. Liberia, of course, through President Boakai, did propose several things, talking about the advancement of this very airport where we are, the RIA. So there has been a lot that has been proposed. So we're currently now waiting to see if the president can make his way out. Let's see if he grants interview today, because as usual, he grants interviews. He gets to talk to members of the press. So let's see if he will tell us about his travel. But for me, I'm more concerned about addressing the issue out there, because it's been rumored that the president did not travel. One of his, he did not travel on a trip that would benefit Liberians. It was literally about him seeking treatment and all of that. I thought we will obviously not dignify the issue of seeking treatment, because I don't have any substantial evidence or fact to substantiate that. But just the assertion that the president did not go for a trip that would benefit Liberia is sufficient enough to ask him, what do you say to haters? Forgive me for that word, by the way. That was out of the lack of a better word. But what will you say to your critics who say you did not travel to Turkey on a trip that will benefit Liberians, and that you went on a personal endeavor? What will you say to them? So obviously that would be something I'm looking forward to asking His Excellency, if the folks out here permit me to, like we usually do. And, usually the president goes on these, bilateral engagements, these international travels, and the questions usually that we pose, to him. And I also do have with me my colleague Vashta Talu. I'm hoping that she has a question scripted already. By the way, if my colleague does have a question, then she's going to be the one to take the question for His Excellency. Vashta, do you care to speak to the issue of the assertion that President Boakai did not travel on an endeavor that would benefit Liberians, that he traveled, as it's being assumed out there, that he went on a personal travel and not a national issue?
Wow, thank you so much, Anthony. But why would the president of a country leave to go as far as Turkey just for his personal gains or personal interest? No. You know that Liberia and Turkey, since 1958, signed, had this bilateral ties for a very long time. So how to rekindle, how to enhance this kind of bilateral engagements, you need to meet your counterpart face to face and tell him that, okay, we need to enhance, maybe when it comes to trade, when it comes to investment, and these kind of things, sending proxies. It can be until yourself you go and say, okay, yes, I'm serious and I want this to happen. So that's the reason why the president went there, and I don't think was just a personal trip. It was a trip that, because if you see the releases from the e-marshal, you also have talks with other business community members. You also have meetings with the Liberian students, and had a fruitful discussion with his counterpart, and that's Tayyip Erdoğan, that's the president, Recep Tayyip Erdoğan of Turkey. So those discussions in the coming days are hopeful that it will yield positive results for the Liberian people. So when people assume that he went on his personal trip, I cannot speak to that, but I don't think so, because the evidence is there. You can see it live and direct on the e-marshal page.
But to clear the room, do you think it will be prudent? Were we the jet as Mr. President, what do you say to your critics who think this trip will not feel like you? You know, usually, yeah.
Yeah, that will be another question. That will be another question. Maybe probably you could ask that question if after I've asked my question, or
sure,
you can come up with your question, then I can come up with my question.
Yeah, you obviously go first as usual. Yeah. The last time I asked the president, he was impressed. For me, it's not about the president being impressed about the question. It's about how those who are watching or following or listening will get the necessary message, from the president about his travel. Because every Liberian wants to know what's in the travel for them when the president travels. Sometimes that's why I like to tailor my questions to what is in the package for Liberians now that you are back, So, I mean, he's usually cool with some of the questions, but it's not literally about how he feels when we ask him. For me, it's the response. And how those responses will affect those who are listening and who are following.
And how he can also maybe dispel the rumors and give that clearer understanding about the president's operations and activities back home and off the home front. Definitely.
Thank you, Vashta. I'm going to stick around, and as we are with the president, someone in the comment section says, his name is, if I got it right, Daniel Herma. He says, please, Anthony, do not ask the president such a question. This platform is too big to promote city. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't want to go that far. I'm sorry. I'm trying to keep it very professional. And I apologize for making such utterance. But again, there's nothing wrong about it. I'm just saying that I don't want to promote such, conversation on this platform also. Just as Daniel Harris or Herma is recommending, I also want to put it out to Daniel himself that this will not, promote such conversation on the platform. Also, Daniel, if you're breaking your comments or your comments in the comment section, keep it professional, keep it across the board for every Liberian, because this platform is for Liberia. It's not literally for a political establishment or for any institution. This is the country's national television, and we'll appreciate where you to keep it respectful when you address your colleagues or address other Liberians on this platform. But I take your recommendation seriously, and it's up to us what question we ask the president. But we await his arrival to talk to members of the press, so thank you very much. So yes, just yesterday we were at the Executive Mansion press briefing, talking to Presidential Press Secretary Madame Kula Fofana, and making inquiries about the president's travel. She told us a lot about some of the engagement that the president held while he was out there in Turkey. And today we're hoping to hear from His Excellency himself about his visit there in Turkey. But again, if I can just run you through some of the discussions that were held or some of the meetings the president held while he was out there. And I'm going to try my possible best and see if I can go online. And Vashta is here with me. Vashta will pose a question to the president. It's been a minute since she since she asked President Boakai a question. Just the other day, President Boakai was asking about her. It's obvious she's not been around for a minute now. She's always on this up and down travel from one country to the other doing professional work. That's what you do. So the president was like, where have you been? But again, she's here today, and I'm hoping that she can pose a question to His Excellency President Boakai. I'm sure she usually has this old school journalist kind of thing. She has a pen and a pad while we are holding phones and have our notes sketched out on our phone. Vashta is still in old school, but she's a professional at doing what she does, so I like it. Let's see what question she will pose to His Excellency President Boakai. But the president is in country. The president is in the VIP, the executive lodge, by the way, and we are hoping to hear from him. But basically just what is in his visit for Liberians. What should Liberia expect out of his visit that he's here with Turkish leader, the Turkish president, President Erdoğan. And
I think your question that you initially wanted to have asked, and one of the commenters,
followers,
was saying, okay, to not ask. I think it is necessary that
question is crucial.
Yeah, it is crucial.
But I don't like how the followers trying to. Anyone has the right as a Liberian to be curious. I agree. Yeah.
It's also the right of the commenter or the viewer to write whatever he wants to write.
Sure.
So we just can tell him that, okay, write, the way we want you to write.
No.
He doesn't think the way we think.
Sure.
He will not think the way I think. He will not think the way you think. So he has his comment rating, and it is left with us to say, okay, let's ask the question or not. But I think it is preferable that
I think the question is crucial.
Yeah, it's very much
what
crucial.
What do you say to critics? Everyone have got critics, especially at the level of the presidency. You obviously have critics. But the concern here is to dislodge or probably provide clarity for the rumor that's been, because there's lots of assumption out there, and the population is kind of caught in between. So once it comes on the House's mouth, I don't see where the problem is to ask His Excellency that question. So we're obviously asking.
And I know he will be prepared to answer that question.
He's always prepared, Don't forget President Boakai is noted for asking questions, for answering questions in, very interesting ways. I don't know how to describe it for the lack of a better word, but his parables.
Most of the times you can ask a question, you answer the question, then you will give a question, he answers your question.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's him for you.
So you go and think about it.
Yeah,
most of the times that's how you answer the question.
Just the other day I asked him about what will he say to his critics, and he was like, but you just call them critics, right? What do you expect? What do you what do you expect of them?
Expect a critic to say about you? No. The critic will always see the negative side.
Definitely.
Let's just take it away from the presidency. As humans, we always have critics.
Obviously,
as an individual, as an organization, as a nation, we always have critics. So being a president is not.
It does not take anything from. You're right.
Not.
It doesn't take it from him. You're right, Vashta.
Yeah.
You're right. But he's back in country anyway. There are lots of discussions held out there also. I'm 100% sure some of your questions are tailored to some of those discussions that were held, so to know how they will benefit Liberia and all of that. Sometimes I like to ask His Excellency about when do we get to see boots on the ground, actions for some of these, things.
And one thing again the president has been keen about is not so much about these travels, but what comes after these travels. And it is also left with the foreign ministry or those who are responsible to do follow-ups. Because when these kind of engagements have been held, these kind of conversations have been held diplomatically, you need follow-ups. So these are the follow-ups that will yield fruits, and it takes time. I think most of the times when we ask the question, how soon do we see this kind of investment or this kind of partnerships coming to fruition? He will say it takes time, and it takes the foreign ministry and all those who are responsible to do follow-ups. Because if you go on trip, what will it benefit the country if you go on a trip and spend taxpayers' money and nothing comes back to the country? Obviously, it will make anybody angry. So these kind of occasions, these kind of engagements, it only left with the foreign ministry as well as those that will be taxed with the responsibility to do follow-ups.
Sure. That's a nice one, because that's one question I always ask him. Follow-up mechanism is crucial. You know, yeah, it's the bedrock to ensuring that some of these agreements come to fruition. You're right. So let's wait and see. I mean,
and the dough is heavily guarded by the EPS.
6 of them.
6 of them, right? And I know few of them are inside.
Including their boss, Vash, if I just zoom in. That's their boss.
Same days. So
I don't know.
tell you that it is their heartbeat.
The president is
the
well
protection
protected.
of the president is the heartbeat. Nothing comes right now. Nothing can even distract them from protecting the president right now. So it only tells you that the president is the first citizen of the nation, and his protection remains key to the Executive Protection Agency.
Even our very selves, we are being guided by one of them, just read by us. He's well serious, well attired, well focused.
He doesn't even want to laugh.
He doesn't smile at all. It's quite interesting. So folks, keep watching. Keep leaving your comments in the comment section for those of you who are following. We appreciate your concerns. Someone said, God, please be with our president. Another person says, welcome back home, Mr. President. In the comment section, Mobile Lape says, and you are here waiting. You need to check. I don't understand what he's talking about. But yeah, it's not bad. Yeah, it's not bad. Fasta is going. Get in the middle. You can get in the middle, Fasta. Right in the middle. Yes. Thank you, Minister. He already said 3. Fasta asked question. I don't have one. I will ask that one, yeah? All right. So I will ask that question, and then my colleague has got their questions. She won't show them. Okay, yeah, you can still do that. So folks, keep watching. Chief, I will now go across this. I just want to come closer, please. So folks, we'll see awaiting the president. He will be out here to us any moment from now. We are being told he will be out. So it appears he's making his way out already. So we're gonna, from what it looks like, it appears he's making his way out. And we have Minister Anthony Keseli on the standby. He always sticks with the press, by the way, which is highly appreciated of him. But being from the public relations division in the mansion, it's obvious he has to stick around with the press and ensure he coordinates the journalists or the media. Same case with Presidential Press Secretary Madam Kula Fofana and other officials who are in the, in that particular division. But do you have a question for His Excellency also? You can leave your question in the comment section.
Thank you and welcome. This is the official Facebook page of the Executive Marshal, and we are coming to you live from the Roberts International Airport. Just a few minutes ago, we witnessed the arrival of His Excellency President Joseph
Chief of Protocol in the office of the President, making his way out. Let's see who comes out next. Literally, we still await His Excellency himself. It appears it's going to be him. I see Honorable Semge, the EPS boss. So President Boakai is making his way out already, folks. He's making his way out.
His Excellency President Joseph Nyuma Boakai has finished. We mentioned.
Pastor, I get a question, you get 1 3.
Thank you, Mr. President. Welcome back to Mr. President. Liberia and Turkey since 1958 forged diplomatic ties. Since then, the two nations continue to strengthen bilateral ties in key sectors of governance. Now, Mr. President, what new areas of cooperation you see Liberia and Turkey first in following your visit to that country?
Several. Investment, education, scholarship for students. We want to build their embassy here soon. We want to open a consulate over there. Multiple ways that the Turkish are very ready.
No, Mr. President, I'm Joraisi Israel Prince Joe and I report for Spoon. Mr. President, there continues to be public discussion about the relationship between the executive branch and the legislature. Recently, members of the Liberian Senate have expressed concern interfering with legislature constitutional oversight and responsibility. Mr. President, my question, how do you respond to this concern? And what steps will your administration take to strengthen cooperation in major respects between the executive and the legislature?
We're taking long, we've been learning to work with each other, but we're trying to do it. And I think the relationship is cooling down and that's working as well.
Mr. President, my name is Anthony Williams. I'm from State Radio. I also wanted to bring to your attention, what do you say to your critics who think your trip to Turkey does not benefit the country? They've been attributing this trip to something personal about you and not for the country. What do you say to them?
I'll leave it with them.
Thank you very much, sir.
Anthony.
I said, folks, I leave it with them. That's President Boakai for you. He says he leave it with them.
Anthony Williams. That's on you.
So that's the president for you, folks. I leave it with them. And obviously, I was hoping to have asked him this question, but you heard it from him. He says he leaves it with his critics. And so, yes, but you noticed the president met his counterpart there in Turkey. While he was out there, they held some very crucial discussions. Some of these discussions will benefit Liberia. You heard President Boakai talking about how both countries are intended to establish embassies, here in Liberia, there in Turkey. So, there's a lot in the pipeline for both countries. The president was asked about the relationship between the legislature and the executive, and you heard how he, according to him, intends to handle issues of that nature. But you also...
All of you.
And so...
William?
Yes, boss. How are you, sir? Oh,
Do you remember me?
yes, sir. We were on a flight the other day.
Yeah, but all the time you come here, you always ignore us. I think
I apologize if that one is.
yes.
I apologize, sir.
Mr. Julius Dennis, Director General, Bureau of Aviation.
I do mention that.
No, you don't mention it. You don't.
Okay, but I'll take
But that's all right.
responsibility.
Oh,
Thank you very much. Thanks for reminding me.
okay.
I'll work on that.
All right.
So, folks, thank you for watching. President Boakai is in country. He's headed home already. And he has just returned from Turkey from attending a crucial international visit, a working visit, of course, in that country. And so wherever you watched and followed from, my name is Anthony Williams. And I'd like to say bye-bye for now. Thanks for watching LNTV, EOBC, Metro FM, and all of our contributing radio stations, especially those who relay this broadcast. Bye-bye for now. My name is Anthony Williams. I have my colleague Vashta Talu with me. Thanks to my boss, Mr. Diflo Flomo, Director General Eugene Lamin Fangon, and other directors at the LBS, the various department heads, and you name them. Bye bye for now.